Hey, beautiful friends. This is Sarah Blumenfeld with Networking Done Different, an outreach of an invitation to more.com. Thanks so much for listening today. I'm joined by my Toastmasters buddy, Melissa Prentice of Bay Area Turning Point, and we're going to find out about this fantastic nonprofit today. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Sarah.
Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
What is Bay Area Turning Point? What is the mission?
So Bay Area Turning Point, we are a nonprofit that was incorporated in 1991, and we are here to assist individuals with services that have been impacted directly or indirectly by domestic violence and or sexual assault. Meaning we do work with people that have experienced it directly, but also domestic violence and sexual assault will impact those that are surrounded by it. So even though it may not have happened directly to the person, if they're impacted by it, we also provide those services. So our mission is advocating to end domestic and sexual violence.
Okay. And how did you get involved with the organization?
The way I got involved is actually kind of a funny story. I'm not going to say I fell into it by accident, but I really didn't know anything about Bay Area Turning Point. My mission in life was to become an attorney, a prosecutor. And so out of college, I was just trying to find a job because I realized without an internship, it was really hard to find a job in the legal field.
Oh, right.
So I actually started in Bay Area Turning Point's childcare. And then I ended up going into our compliance department, which is where I started learning more about the behind the scenes stuff. So our grants that are funded, and I would see a lot of what was happening just by looking at files and hotlines. And so I decided I wanted to do direct services. So then I moved into an advocate position where I worked directly with clients. And then I ended up moving more into the prevention side of things. So I do the outreach, the education, and the primary prevention piece. And as I've gone through my years here at Bay Area Turning Point, I've been here 13 years now. As I've gone through the years, I've realized that this is exactly where I was supposed to be. All the other stuff that I wanted to do didn't work out because this is where I'm supposed to be. So I'm our main educator at the agency. We do groups with young people. We work with legislators to try to pass laws regarding domestic violence and sexual assault. So, we work with a lot of the heavy hitters whenever it comes to making sure that we're strengthening these laws to protect victims.
Tell me a little bit more about the education. What are you educating them about? How to avoid it or how not to do it?
Both. So part of primary prevention is really trying to get to a root cause of an issue and stopping it before it starts. Obviously, we cannot stop it before it starts because it's already started. It's already been an issue. So we provide education on different levels. We do provide that intervention where we're educating them on what it looks like, how to remain safe, how to get out of the situations. But on the other side of things, we're teaching them how to not get into these situations to begin with, and really what that's looking like. Of course, we have to put safety measures in place to make sure that we are not falling victim, but we're also trying to put more of the burden on perpetrators. Because we keep asking the question, why do they stay? What were you doing to have this happen to you? And we're not asking abusers and rapists why it's okay for them to do what they do.
What are the services that are provided by the organization?
We have several different services. We do provide immediate crisis intervention. So we do have a 24-hour hotline. Whenever people call that hotline, we talk about their situation. We try to provide safety planning with them because a lot of people, whenever they're in a chaotic situation, they're in crisis, they're not thinking about how to remain safe past, what's going on. They may not even be thinking about how to stay safe. They're just trying to get out of the situation. They're just trying to make it stop. And so we work with them to create a plan to remain safe while they're still there. and once they leave, and then well into the future. We try to take into consideration safety at home, safety at work, safety at school, safety at the kids' schools,
Right.
taking kids and pets into consideration. So we do provide that service on our hotline. Our hotline is our segue to all of our services.
Okay.
We also provide advocacy. We have on-call advocates. So we always have at least 2 people on call 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Holidays, weekends, nights, you name it. We have at least 2 people on call. Meaning if somebody is in the hospital due to domestic violence or sexual assault, or at a police station due to domestic violence or sexual assault, we will send an advocate to that location. We will not send advocates on scene to people's homes, to people's works, just to police stations, hospitals.
Okay.
We also have our emergency shelter, which is a safe haven for people that are fleeing domestic violence or sexual assault. And so with the shelter, we provide them case management. Everybody has their own rooms. We do have an on-site childcare. We provide 3 meals a day, 3 snacks a day. They get a wide array of classes to help them become self-sufficient. They also have access to all of the services that we offer. So some of those other services are victim advocacy. If they need help filing charges, or help filing for a protective order and support going through that, or support going through court cases, our victim advocates will assist with that. They also will get them connected with other resources that we may not be able to provide. So if they need an attorney, we'll get them connected with an attorney, either low cost or pro bono. We have our counseling department. So they provide individual, family, and group counseling. And it's only for people that have been impacted by the domestic violence and sexual assault. We do not work with perpetrators or abusers. We have our rental assistance program, which is also for people that are fleeing domestic violence and sexual assault. So they don't need to be in the shelter, but they can be. They can transition from the shelter to the rental assistance program, or they can use the rental assistance program as a standalone program. And then, of course, we have our outreach and education department, which is what I do, where we go do outreach. We try to spread awareness about the issues, start the conversations, bring people to our organization, whether that be donors, volunteers, or potential clients. And then we try to get on the front lines to bring an end to domestic violence and sexual assault.
It's probably a lot more widespread than people have any idea of.
Very much so. Right now you're looking, and the stats are constantly changing, but right now it's about 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men that are impacted by domestic violence. And then you're also looking at 1 in 5 women or 1 in 26 men. Depending on where you're looking, CDC is saying 1 in 26 men are sexually assaulted in the United States.
Wow. I think people don't really think of men as being the victims of these things.
They absolutely don't, which, I mean, and if you look at the reports, you're not seeing a whole lot of reports from men. There's a lot of different reasons, but a lot of men are embarrassed to think that they could be abused.
Yeah.
But it does happen. We are seeing a rising number in male victims.
Wow. And then, of course, so the children are affected by seeing the parent abused, but are you also working with children who are abused as well? Or is
yes,
that
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, because in a lot of the homes where there is domestic violence, the children are being abused as well.
Yeah.
And that is also one of the biggest risk factors for children either becoming an abuser or becoming abused once they get older, because you grow up in a household where you see this happening, you perceive it as normal.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's the biggest risk factor right there, is witnessing it in the home or experiencing it in the home.
Wow. So the first step to get hooked up with your system is to call the hotline.
Yes.
Okay. Can you give that number out?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So that number is 281-286-2525.
Okay.
And there's somebody answering that hotline 24 hours a day.
That's great. So people don't need to feel alone if they're in a situation. They can call even though they might not know what a next step would be, this first step of calling the hotline will then give them the information they need about what they should do next in their, or could do next in their situation. Is that
Yes.
accurate? Yeah.
Yeah. So our hotline specialist, anybody that answers our hotline, are very highly trained in answering the hotline. So they know how to do the safety planning. And, some people just want to talk. They just want to talk out their situation. They may not be ready to access services yet. They just want to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
And so, that hotline really is that first step. And so we really, really train all of our staff to make sure that they're approaching the conversations with empathy, that they are putting their judgments and biases aside, and that they're really practicing active listening whenever they're speaking with people. So we're not here to give advice. We're
Right.
here to help them plan their own next moves.
Yeah.
Because really, if you think about it, they really are the experts at their situations. They may not realize it at the moment, but they're the ones going through it. So we can't sit there and try to give advice whenever we're not the ones going through it. We can offer suggestions.
Right. But just by a caring person being there on the other end of the line, sometimes that can help people get calm enough that they can hear their own intuition, right? Where before they were just so that they really couldn't hear that.
Yeah, and I would like to think that after getting off of our hotline, a lot of them do walk away feeling better about their situations, but I can't say that they should be walking away feeling better, because some people just feel very defeated. And also you got to think about the shelters have very limited space. And so if that's what they're looking for and we're not able to get them in, that can be a feeling of frustration that we need to understand. We're not going to completely understand how they're feeling, but we can understand that they are frustrated,
right,
and offer the best support that we can. And a lot of times we'll try to offer another service to try to help out.
Okay, like another nonprofit, you mean? Or
another shelter, or
Yeah.
If they don't need to leave right away, I usually offer a rental assistance program to see, at least come in and talk with an advocate. Let's see if you qualify.
Right.
Some people they just really don't know what they need to do right now. They don't know what they're ready for. And so sometimes I'll offer counseling just so they can talk it out with somebody.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just need to clear your head in order to make those decisions. And we definitely empower them to make their own decisions.
And to know that there's resources, right? Like all these things that you've named, most people probably think, well, I can't hire a lawyer. I don't even know how to find a lawyer. And then they find out, oh, you'll help them with that. It's like,
Yeah. We work with several services that offer pro bono legal assistance.
Yeah. Wow. Do you educate people on what to look for in others? Like, that person might be having a problem, and maybe I should tell them about the hotline.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. We definitely educate on warning signs and red flags.
So can you share some of those with us?
Sure. So if you notice that the person is trying to isolate the other person, making comments about who they can talk to, who they can see, where they can go. Social media is a big one. If they're trying to demand passwords, if they're trying to say who the person can and can't follow. If you notice the person being the main decision maker, or calling the person names, throwing around insults, gaslighting them, making them think that they're crazy. Of course, physical abuse is going to be like probably your number one indicator, but sometimes people they're not going to be physical in front of other people. So it's other things that you need to look at. Are they giving them threatening looks? Are they making them feel bad for some reason? Are they shifting blame for everything? These are things to look at. Do they have that Jekyll and Hyde syndrome?
Yeah.
And that's just a couple of things off the top of my head. I could go on for days listing red flags.
So if you observe something that you think maybe this person is in a bad situation, how would you recommend, like say I saw that, how would you recommend I go about speaking to that person about this might be an option?
I would not come off as accusatory towards the abuser. I would just state your observations.
Okay.
I noticed this happening. Because really, ultimately, they need to be the ones to make the decision that they are in an abusive relationship. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but what a lot of people don't understand is if it's not, a lot of people don't understand that if it's not physical, it can still be domestic violence. A lot of people think that in order for it to be considered domestic violence, it has to be physical. But this person just makes me feel like I'm the worst person in the world. That's not abuse, though. And they don't understand that that's still domestic violence. And so it's important to state what you have observed, but don't come off as attacking the abuser, because then that could put the victim on the defensive. So if you notice, I've observed these kind of behaviors, can I provide you a phone number for people that might be able to help?
Okay. Yeah, that's a really important comment that you made there, that people typically say domestic violence is the physical abuse, but there's so much more that it can be. Wow.
Yeah, they use coercion, they use threats, they use isolation being a huge one. They use emotional abuse, financial abuse, using children against people.
Yeah.
So what I would like to reference that where I'm getting this from, it's a very good tool that we use, and is accessible by anybody. You can easily pull your phone out, pull up Google, and type in power and control wheel, and you can see all the different ways. Power and control wheel.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can see all the different dynamics behind domestic violence, what tactics they'll use.
Oh, wow. Well, that would be informative, wouldn't it?
Yes, it is very informative, and I feel like it really helps people understand what domestic violence can look like.
So the funding for your organization, you mentioned grants. Where does what types of places does funding come from? Grants and donations and?
Yeah, so we have grants, we have private donors as well.
Okay. And you do events, right? You have one coming up in October, is it?
We have our Studio BATP Gala coming up on October 14th. I had to look at my calendar. I'm like, I know it's on a Saturday in October. Right. It's October 14th.
So you do one or more events a year to get people to both get involved and to donate? Or
so the big fundraiser is that one.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the big fundraising event. The events that my department does, we do more outreach and educational events. So we're not really on the fundraising side. That would be our development team that does the fundraising events. And so there are two big events in October, are the annual gala that we have, our fundraiser, which this year it's 80s theme, Studio BATP. And then we also have another event, which is Savannah's Walk on October 21st, which is in honor of a young lady that worked over at the Forest Park East Funeral Home over on 45, and she was killed by her husband. Actually, she was right in the middle of doing a fundraiser for us whenever she was killed by her husband.
Oh, wow.
And so we do this event every year at the funeral home.
What kind of groups do you go speak to? Are there people who could come to you and say, hey, would you come and talk to my group?
I mean, really anybody that asked me to.
Okay.
I've
church groups, school groups, Boy Scouts.
Church groups, we do church groups all the time. I've even spoken to entire churches on numerous occasions. So I can do the entire congregation. I can do small groups. I've done book clubs over at people's houses. Yeah, pretty much anybody. I mean, I've done all the way from, a big plant with like 500 people to a book club at somebody's house.
Okay, well, there you go. What kind of help do you guys need from the community?
Oh man, what kind of help do we need? We always need donations.
We have a long list.
Long list, long list. We always need donations. You can go to our website at bayareaturningpoint.org to find different kind of donation opportunities. A lot of people like to do drives, whether that be food drives or clothing drives or hygiene products. We do have a monthly needs list that's up. We do inventory monthly at the shelter to see what our needs are. And so we put that up monthly. People can also come volunteer. We have gotten our volunteer program back up and running. And so we need volunteers in several different areas. We need hotline volunteers. We have data entry. We have people that help at our donation center. We need people that will assist with outreach events. So if you're interested in working more with community members, I am happy to have you on my team. But yeah, childcare, we like childcare volunteers. But yeah, we have so many different volunteer opportunities for people to join. And then really just, whenever you see stuff coming out that we're doing, the events that we're doing, follow us on our social media. Facebook, it's Bay Area Turning Point. On Instagram, it's Bay Area Turning Point Inc. Just pay attention to the stuff that we have going on and support that. Help us share what, the information that we're sharing out there, and attend our events that we have going on.
Awesome.
We also do accept monetary donations online now. A lot of people have been asking me about that.
Oh, okay. Okay. So a lot of different opportunities to contribute to this great cause.
Oh, absolutely. So many opportunities. And if none of those work for you, you can call us and we can find something.
We'll find something.
We'll find something that works.
Say, what is it you like to do? Hey, we can use that.
Yeah. And I mean, really, it can be as simple as just telling people that Bay Area Turning Point exists.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know about Bay Area Turning Point whenever I was growing up.
Well,
I didn't know about Bay Area Turning Point until really I started working here.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Anything else you'd like our listeners to know before we close up?
I think that about covers it, unless you have more questions.
Okay. So the website is
bayareaturningpoint.org.
Okay. And I'll put in the show notes again that hotline number so that any of our listeners can either use it or refer it to someone else if they see something. I think I've seen in the library, don't you have something in the restroom, some little flyer, or you did at one point, or maybe.
We used to have little tearaway cards in the restrooms.
Right.
We are looking at bringing that back maybe, but we just haven't gotten around to that.
Yeah.
Whenever you said library, I was like, I have a cute little display out there.
Yes, in the Freeman Library, there is a beautiful display as you walk in the front. Yeah.
Yeah, so and just real quick on that, that's something else that we do. We do a lot of work with young children, and it's not us coming in and talking about domestic violence and sexual assault. Obviously, they're not going to understand that too much. Right. But what we do with the younger kids is we teach them healthy relationship behaviors, which is really what our youth educational program is about. Our prevention educational program is about is healthy relationship behaviors. So we teach them about things like kindness and empathy and healthy communication and things like that. And we don't mention any of the nitty-gritty stuff until they get a little older. Right. We don't want people thinking that we're going to come in and talk to your kids about sex or anything like that. We are going to talk to them about how to be good people. Yeah. And so that display at the library, since you brought it up, they asked us to come in and set up a display for the summer reading program. And the focus is on kindness, friendship, and unity. Nice. So it is an interactive display. I do encourage everybody to go participate. It's super exciting to have people participate in these things. And I went with kind of a bumblebee theme. Honeybee. So it's honeybees uniting and working together of all different shapes, colors, sizes, working together to
Yeah.
create a honeycomb, which we call the kindness honeycomb. And
Oh,
so the bigger it gets, the more they create ingredients for our friendship recipe.
I love that.
It is, I love it. It is so cute. And we've had a lot of participation. So please go have your children participate, or even adults, y'all can participate too, because I would rather have to keep printing out the little honeycombs and cutting them out and bring them up there than being told, nope, sorry, we don't have any for you to put up today.
Right, right. Oh, wow.
Yeah, we already ran out of our first batch after it being up for like a week. So
Oh, wow. And it's going to be up all summer?
all summer
Okay.
through August.
We're recording this in June, y'all, so of 2023. So go over to the Freeman Library on Diana, see the great display and participate, play along. Well, I love that you're teaching kindness, empathy, things that unfortunately a lot of people are not even aware of how to behave in that way. So that's awesome, because that's going to help them not only in their domestic situation, but their work situation, their school situation, and so on.
Yeah, and a lot of it does revolve around being able to be assertive and set boundaries. And that's what I really like to talk about at all ages, because you can use assertive communication at any age, and you can set boundaries at any age.
Yeah.
And so the sooner you learn that, the less likely it is to get into these situations.
Exactly. Wow. Well, thank you so much, Melissa. This has been great.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me again. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, friends, for listening. We always appreciate your time. If you would like to be interviewed, please email me at networkingdonedifferent@gmail.com. Thanks. See you later. Bye.